What's up, guys? Frugal BC. Is a Hedera ETF incoming? We are going to talk about that, plus something with the State Department being interested in Hedera, staking's impacts on Hedera's price. We're going to look at the different staking levels and how that compares, actually coming from HBAR Bull. Hedera community not happy over the low TPS and a lack of transparency about why that is. Hedera partnership with Qatar, I never pronounced that right, but we're going to talk about that. Plus, Braille adding Hedera support for its stablecoin issuance. We're going to look at all that Hedera news on today's Frugal BC. By the way, guys, if you like this kind of stuff, please hit that like and subscribe button. Like I always say, you don't have to smash it. You can just press it gently. It works just fine that way too. We are brought to you by non-fungible domains, so give them a shout out in the link below. This is a non-Algorand video, so we won't dive into that. And you can be a channel member for only $1. That's right, link in the description. $1 for $1 you can get videos early. Plus, we're adding some new features for members, so keep an eye out. And thanks to everyone who has joined the channel membership so far. The big news we're going to talk about is the Hedera ETF. We're going to save that for the end, but let's get to, first off, this old news about the State Department warming to Hedera. Kind of an interesting post, to be honest. And this is from Gripe Coin. He says the U.S. State Department is loving Hedera HBAR. He just posted this, by the way. This is November 13th. That'll become important in a minute. Big moves and massive adoption incoming. ETF approvals heating up. We are going to be talking about that. HBR will be next in line. And yeah, the State Department doesn't just toss anything on its website. But as someone pointed out, article's a year and a half old scam coin. Now, I don't think it's a scam coin. And Grapecoin says, let's see if we got that on the screen. Grapecoin says, funny how progress doesn't have an expiration date. And I agree. This is still interesting information. But look where that date is. This was covered up. And he put this on here. He took this out, or she, I guess I don't know. Took this little cutout and covered the actual date on it, which I think is a little misleading. I don't think it makes it a scam coin. It doesn't make this information uninteresting, but that's a really disingenuous way to present it. And it does hurt your credibility. You know, if you're presenting stuff like this, that's old, and it's fine to talk about, say, hey, don't forget this exists. But this is really deceptive, and it undermines credibility. And if you're trying to, push a narrative about Hedera, this is a really bad way to do it because it makes you look bad. But that's a little bit unfortunate. But I think there's some other interesting things that we're going to listen to, and this is about staking's impact on Hedera's price. So let's dive into this here.
I think one of the number one things we want to do to focus on that retail side is have laser focus on the HBAR and the HBAR holders. The best way to do that, and you've heard me talk about this over and over again, is staking rewards. It's a great way to, in a decentralized way, distribute the token and attract capital into our ecosystem. Now, to get into the meat of it, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent first. I was talking to an HBARbarian a couple weeks ago, and he indicated that the higher staking rewards that we saw over a year ago on Hedera did not have an impact on the network, and the number of accounts staking didn't show a correlation. What surprised me about this is I never thought of the number of accounts staking as a metric to look at for the impact of staking rewards. Maybe the total HBAR staked, but not the total accounts staking. That said, the real metric is relative performance of the HBAR against other tokens that have staking incentives. From following the markets, I knew HBAR had performed better when we had staking rewards at 6.5%, but I hadn't crunched those numbers.
Yeah, I just think this is really interesting. This chart showing, HBAR price. There's the staking, where it was at. Very interesting stuff. I think it's really, HBAR Bull has some really interesting stuff, and I think you should definitely check him out. He's like full in on Hedera HBAR. I believe he's now separated from the Hedera Hedera Foundation or the HBAR Foundation. So operating completely independently. And, I'm really careful about that kind of stuff. I don't partner with any of the blockchains themselves because I want to be able to cover them objectively, but I appreciate what he's doing here. So very interesting stuff. Now this other one other not so positive piece of news, and I don't know if we really covered this before, but I noticed a while back that Hedera's TPS went from thousands to like 0 to 3 TPS, and I was really confused as to why. It turns out one of the governing council members had been using Hedera for all its transactions, and then it just suddenly stopped. And some people aren't so happy about this, so let's dive in. This is from Niu. He says, the way Hedera is handling this situation concerns me more than the fact that Atma stopped their services, which is what happened. Hedera is not dependent on one use case to make or break the promise of becoming the trust layer of the internet. If there had been clear communication on why Atma went offline, I'd probably be okay with it. I wouldn't be happy about it, but that's for sure. But hey, you win some, you lose some. And I'll be honest, I wasn't even aware until this happened that all the TPS was from one company, and that makes me really nervous because we see transactions like this, and I like that on Algorand we have companies that provide like Chaintrail, and there's some other ones that provide like data around what is actually causing the TPS, so you can see who's responsible for most of it. I hope we get something like that on Hedera. Maybe it exists. If it does, link me below. I'd like to take a look at it. But I think that kind of transparency is really important because it makes me otherwise kind of distrustful of TPS metrics. You know, I've like Sui has a lot of pretty high TPS too, and I would like to know more about, and they probably have a service too, so we'll be looking into that. But anyway, the fact that there's no communication at all after we had months of community openly expressing their dissatisfaction about communication and attention to retail while promises were made to start doing better. I mean, I think for sure, I think a lot of like Hedera and Algorand, like I don't think they're really focused on retail. I don't think that's necessarily a problem, but you should be focused on communication. I think that's a major problem. So yeah, I hope Hedera fixes this because I think this is pretty irritating. So apparently also, I think this is important, the Atma use case page has been removed from the Hedera website. Yeah, so that's pretty irritating. I weighed in on this too, and I kind of just said what I said earlier, so I won't repeat it. I did get a little. So that's bad news, but we've got good news coming up too, so stay tuned. And the first one we got is this a partnership with Qatar? I think it's Qatar. I just never say it right. It looks like Qatar to me, but anyway, let's dive into this news. All pronunciations aside, huge Hedera. This is from the same guy from before, so take it with a grain of salt. But he says huge. Hedera joins forces with Qatar. I'm just gonna say Qatar. If I'm wrong, whatever. The world's richest nation to redefine digital assets. Together, they will tokenize everything from real estate to carbon credits, setting a global standard for digital finance network. Buckle up because Hedera HBAR is $100. HBAR to $100 is looking closer to ever. Well, I think that's crazy. Source. Yeah, I'm a little worried. Apparently, this came out in May of 2024 too. So, yeah, interesting. And I think the idea that it's going to go to $100, like, I mean, if someday maybe, but you have 50 billion coins, right? That's a lot. Like Algorand's a pretty low price coin. The higher supply that you have, the lower the price. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious, right? The higher supply, the lower the price generally is going to be, your price basis, I guess you could say. So something like Hedera, it'll be a long time, and it'll need a lot of success behind it before it gets to $100 a coin. Definitely not this cycle. Not this cycle. $1 would be a huge win for Hedera. Okay. Well, here's one that's a little more recent and reliable. Braille, which is a company that allows for stablecoin creation, says they have partnered. They're excited to announce their partnership with HBAR Foundation to bring regulated stablecoin issuance and on-ramps to Hedera. Fintechs and institutions can now issue stablecoins on Hedera in 5 minutes with integrated on-ramps, treasury management, and revenue share, which is cool. So $0 fee deposits, withdrawal swaps will control stablecoin revenue, fully backed and regulated in the US. What it means for financial applications: convert stablecoins from a cost center into a revenue center. Hedera's low fees with Braille business accounts enables seamless on-chain operations with projects benefiting from stablecoin usage they create. Now, Hedera has its own stablecoin studio, but I'm guessing these are kind of like done for you services and just make it a lot easier. In fact, he addresses it here. Cool. How is this different from Stablecoin Studio? Braille makes it so you can log in, simply deploy a fiat-backed stablecoin. All regulation compliance funding stuff is built right in. So that's what I was talking about. It's basically a done-for-you service, and for a lot of businesses, like they're not going to like hire a blockchain person or whatever, it's just so much easier just to hire a business, say, yeah, we want a stable coin, come make it for us. Yeah, so that's the cool stuff. I think that's a good thing for Hedera for sure. Okay, now the moment you guys have all been waiting for, Hedera ETF. Is it incoming? This seems to imply that there's a good chance we're going to see a Hedera ETF pretty soon. This is from Eleanor Tourette, who is from Fox Business. And great, she says, New Canary Funds has filed an S1 with the SEC Gov to launch an HBAR ETF. This comes following Canary's launch of its HBAR trust in October. The HBAR bull shared his YouTube channel. Yeah, a lot of people happy about this, but they're filing. This is official form. They are filing an S1. Now, it doesn't mean it will be approved, but it's been filed, under the Securities Act of 1933. Canary HBAR FTF. Canary, for user wondering, Canary Capital provides institutional crypto and digital asset trading and investments management via funds and trusts. So we have a Bitcoin ETF. We have, I believe, ETH is live now. I think there's a couple that are live or very close to it. A lot of talk about an XRP. One coming up, and now HBAR. So that's really exciting. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on that because I think that's really bullish for the space. But otherwise, guys, thanks for tuning in today. Hope you guys all enjoyed the show. Remember, we got channel memberships for only $1, and we're doing giveaways. I didn't mention that before, but we're doing giveaways every month now for our channel members. We're going to be adding a higher tier soon too, but right now $1 a month gets you everything we're offering at this point, and you can check that out in the link below. Otherwise, stay safe out there. It's good times. We've seen some good price action from Hedera lately. Well, some people would argue to the contrary, but seeing it go the right direction at least, which is what I tell my Algorand fans too. So anyway, stay safe out there. I'm Frugal BC, and I will see you in the future.